Yoga is a practice that can help improve our well-being, increase flexibility and strength, and can even help us be in a better mood. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it certainly won't solve all of your problems. But when I first started practicing, it truly had a transformative effect. And those effects ran much deeper than my newfound flexibility and pretty yoga mats. I started practicing just over a decade ago, and it's been 11 years since I walked into that very first yoga studio that set me off on my journey. And since then I've started teaching, and I think I've taught hundreds of students by now. But over the years I've also dealt with a lot of friction. There's those who think that yoga is something that it's not. There's those who think that yoga is going to solve all of their problems, and there's those who think that yoga is just some new age nonsense. So in this video I want to address some of the common myths and misconceptions about yoga, what I've learned from practicing it for all those years, and what it could potentially do for you. Myth number 1, you have to be flexible to do yoga. When people find out I teach yoga, the first thing they tell me is that they're not flexible enough to do yoga. Funnily enough, that's the very first thing I said to a yoga teacher a few years before I started practicing. And this is perhaps the way yoga is generally portrayed. So for example, if you go into social media and you look up yoga, you're most likely going to come across pictures showing people in generally some very flexible and advanced yoga poses. So I've had students who from their very first yoga class could do lotus pose, and that's great. I've also had other students who have such tight hips or even injured knees who have to sit like this. And that's also okay. Now, there is a great deal of stretching in every yoga class, so you don't have to start off being flexible in order to do yoga. Most yoga classes can be adapted, so if you're worried about not being flexible enough, look out for a beginner's class and you'll see that you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. You will potentially build on this flexibility, but you don't need it to start off with. There's a lot of comments, potentially even mean comments, floating around the internet every day, commenting that yoga is just stretching. Is yoga just stretching? Is there any difference between yoga and stretching, or is it basically just the same? So from the outside, it's very easy to see why yoga might be considered the same as stretching. Yes, it is the most visual part of the process, but it's just one part of it. In any given yoga class, you will move your body through a series of movements, which yes, will increase your flexibility, but that's just one part of the puzzle of what yoga actually is. Yoga is a spiritual practice. It came all the way from India and is practiced by thousands of people all over the world. And yet it can be argued that yoga is mainly about stretching and the physical side of this practice. Now, yoga has changed my life. I know it's a cliche to say this, but it actually has. Ever since I started practicing, I've been able to not only improve my flexibility and my strength, but it's also helped me improve my self-discipline. It's helped me deal with stress and anxiety that I was facing, and it's helped me really be able to put certain things in perspective. And also, a very important part of it is that it's helped me connect with like-minded people from all over the world. And so if you'd like to find out more about yoga beyond the stretches, yoga beyond the physical side, I've linked in the description box below certain books that you might be interested in if you want to have a look at yoga beyond the physical side. Myth number 3, the more advanced the poses, the more advanced you are. When you first start practicing yoga, it can feel like it's all about flexibility. For most of us, the before and after image is pretty dramatic. And depending on how flexible you are by nature, it could just take a few classes to be able to get into certain poses. But the truth is that as you practice, your body will start to most likely open up and feel a bit stronger. For some, it might be easier, and for some others, it might take a longer time. And so it's easy to think that someone who's able to do some advanced poses is actually advanced at yoga. However, I would say that for me at least, having taught so many students, the most advanced practitioners are those who, throughout the class, are able to stay focused and with a steady breath. Now, whether their body could do certain things or not, being able to stay present in every moment is actually what, for me at least, makes a more advanced practitioner. Myth number 4, yoga can fix anything. Now, yoga has many benefits indeed. More and more studies are finding that yoga can help deal with stress, with back pain, with depression, just to name a few. And so it may come as no surprise that, especially if we've started to fall in love with this practice, we start to prescribe it for anything. So for example, a friend says to us, they've got a sore back, oh, do yoga. They've got a sore neck, so they've got some neck pain, oh, do yoga. However, the issue is that not all yoga practices are the same. And so for example, if someone has a herniated disc, potentially an Ashtanga class might not be the best solution for them. Or if someone has some shoulder pain, potentially going to a power yoga class might not be the best solution for them. So each type of yoga has its strengths, the things that it can work on. So especially if there's any potential injuries, then either do your research or speak to an experienced yoga teacher and find the best class, the best type of yoga for whatever it is that you're looking for. Myth number 5, you need fancy yoga equipment and clothes. You need a pretty yoga mat, expensive leggings and tops. And so the truth is that you only do need one yoga mat. Okay, I've got quite a few yoga mats here, as you can see, although I will say that my main one is actually this one here, is my Manduka Pro that I've had for about 10 years now. And the rest of them, well, let's just say that they're for research for this channel. Oh, that's what I tell myself anyway. In order to do your yoga practice, you can't even get away with not even having a yoga mat. You could practice yoga on your carpet, and you could even use your husband's old gym clothes. But here's the thing. If you want to do a dynamic practice such as Ashtanga, so I practice Ashtanga yoga, in order to have a more comfortable practice, you want a good quality mat. Best thing to do is buy a good quality yoga mat. You never have to replace it, and that makes it also a sustainable and eco-friendly option. And so if you like all the pretty yoga mats, of course, go out and buy them, but all you really need is one good quality yoga mat. And regarding the clothes, just find clothes that are comfortable enough for you. I prefer to practice in more tight-fitting clothes, so for example, my leggings and any crop tops. Everything I've started buying is sustainable and eco-friendly, so if that's an option that you want to go for, check in the description box below, and I've got some recommendations for things that you might want to check out. So I'd love to hear from all of you guys. Are there any myths and misconceptions that you'd like to share with all of us? So let me know in the comments below, and I really look forward to seeing what you come up with. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.